Love music. Live sport. With Doogie Jackson on RockSport Radio. Our first guest this afternoon, Vivienne MacLaren, Chair of Scottish Women in Football. Hello, Vivienne, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, no, great to chat with you again, my pal. Obviously, we get the semi-finals of the SWPL League Cup on Sunday. It's going to be a very exciting day, yeah?
It is, yeah. We've got two fixtures. Sorry, on you go, Doug.
No, tell me about those fixtures, my pal. Yeah, crack on.
Well, what we decided to do the past couple of years is actually have both semi-finals at the one venue on the same day, so that for your ticket you get to see two great games of football. So on Sunday we have the kind of Titans, Hibs versus Glasgow City at 12 o'clock kick-off. And then at 3:30 we've got Celtic against Forfar Farmington after that, So
that is a double dunt and definitely value for money there.
It's a double dunt. Absolutely. I think it's £5 a ticket. What more could you?
Brilliant.
Would you rather go to the Old Firm on Sunday or come and see some women's football?
Well, there you go. There was a gauntlet being thrown down there, I think.
Exactly.
Well, let's chat first off about how significant is this particular cup to the sport, my friend?
Yeah, well, it showcases the top 16 teams in Scotland. So if you're in the Scottish Women's Premier League 1 or 2, we have two leagues of 8 teams, you compete in this cup. So it's very significant because you've got the top teams competing for the prize. It's very different to the league, where Glasgow City have dominated the league, for a record number of seasons. But in the past 2 seasons, Hibs have defeated them in the cups. So it's been a very kind of interesting kind of difference in the cup competitions.
So what you're actually telling me there is this is going to be a tough contest at the weekend. Yes.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, Hibs and Glasgow City drew 2-2 less than a fortnight ago in the Scottish Building Society Premier League, and Hibs actually equalised into stoppage time. So it was a very, very closely fought contest. You're two of the top teams in Scotland. You've got internationalists at different levels, including full senior internationals playing in both teams. Really, really exciting players in both teams. So I couldn't call it. I really couldn't call it. I think it's going to be an absolute cracker.
We're not going to put that pressure on you.
Thank you.
I'm just checking my contract here. I said that I wasn't allowed to ask that question. I'm only kidding. Causes for increase in participation in women's football, though. I mean, I was reading a wee bit the other day. The Euro 2017 was an upsurge of 20% of women and girls playing football. There are more people than ever before interested in becoming involved. So the cause, you're heading in the right direction, my friend, yeah.
Definitely, and I think, people forget that women's football is the fastest growing sport in the world. And if you look at where we are in Scotland, there are opportunities for any girl or woman to play football at any level across Scotland. We have the kind of SFA, the kind of SSC soccer centres that are throughout the country. That were launched last week, and they've been going actually since just after the Euros. So basically, if you want to turn up and play every week and just have fun with your friends, absolutely fine. If you want to turn up and play and then you actually think you want to join a club and take that next step, then there's the pathways in place that we work closely with SFA on to make sure that we get girls to local clubs and get them actually part of a club setup and doing kind of club coaching. So I think that the opportunities are there. When I was a wee girl, I was the only girl in the boys' football team, and that didn't put me off in any way. And I think there's a lot of talent out there. We've got a lot of young players who are blossoming in Scotland and down in England with the likes of Erin Cuthbert at Chelsea and various other players. So certainly we've got the talent. It's just about showcasing that and getting the pathways in place so that when they go to the clubs, they can then thrive.
Nurturing the talent, bringing it on, and but then a lot of that talent, and I'm just thinking about half of Man City is off. They're Scots. They're off from Scotland and down to the other side of the country. In fact, sometimes they leave the UK to pursue the game abroad. How can we hang on to them? How can we hang on to this talent that you're nurturing?
Well, I think there's a few kind of things to think about. I mean, in a lot of other countries, Iceland, Sweden, Germany, they've all had full-time professional women's leagues for many, many, many years. We are probably a bit further behind in that, and obviously in those countries the structures aren't all the same. Even in England, the FA run the national setup and they run the club setup for the women's professional kind of leagues. In Scotland, it's totally different. The FA run the kind of national pathways, and we are responsible for the club kind of game here. So I think it is about definitely investment, because if you're going to encourage clubs to become at least semi-professional, they need to have some kind of funding in place in order for it to be an equal playing field and for all the clubs to compete. And don't get me wrong, even though the money isn't there at the moment, there are many clubs competing in the Premier SWPL 1 and 2 who run themselves as if they are professional. They're training 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
They are run like a professional team. Just because the investment isn't there at the same levels as other countries doesn't mean to say we're not still as focused on what we're trying to do. So yeah, in summary, we need to look at how we help and encourage clubs to kind of push to that next standard. So it all boils down to money, of course.
Like absolutely everything else on the planet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the interest in the women's game is just huge, and we can really see it growing, especially over the past 2 years. So that's a positive thing for us.
No, definitely, and I would reckon that the increase in interest must lead to an increase in investment. I mean, people must see the commercial value attached to this, and I'm assuming that you're out in the field. Yeah, chatting to those potential sponsors. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we had SSC as our first ever sponsor to sponsor the Scottish Cup. So that was, we're still involved in that deal until 2019. And we're delighted to welcome Scottish Building Society on board as the first ever sponsor of the Scottish Women's Premier League. So that was really good. We launched just last year, and for the first time ever, we will have prize money in the competition. So that's really great. So all the clubs in SWPL 1 and 2 will get a share of prize money at the end of the season, which is fantastic. And it's baby steps, but we're definitely going in the right direction, definitely.
Vivienne, that's brilliant news. So more power to you and the rest of the gang there. And just to recap, so it's Hibernian taking on Glasgow City, and the kick-off in that one was 12 noon, you said, yeah?
That's correct, yeah.
Celtic, and then Forfar, and that is 3:30.
3:30.
3:30.
And Forfar got promoted from SWPL 2 last season and are doing so well in SWPL 1, and that's them in the semis as well. So again, Celtic were top of the table last week for a few days. So I think it's going to be another really good game.
And as Vivienne pointed out at the start of this interview, it's a double done because you get both of those matches for the same price. Yeah,
exactly. So come down to Falkirk Stadium. Great family day out, definitely.
Excellent, Vivienne. Great to chat with you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend, and we'll hear no doubt from you at some point in the near future. Cheers, my pal. Bye bye now. Bye bye. Bye. Vivienne MacLaren there, chair of Scottish Women in Football. Just to recap, Hibernian, Glasgow City, 12 noon kick-off, Celtic, Forfar at 3:30, as you heard, at the Falkirk Stadium.